All right, so I wanted to talk about the UPS recent news about them trying to buy out some of their drivers, which is a reflection about what's going on in the job market because it's not just tech anymore, but it's affecting other industries such as the UPS. Um, but I also just wanted to, shine a light on the content I've been making. I feel like there's been a lot of negativity, like a lot of negative doom and gloom content that's been being created, and I'm trying to be more positive, but it's hard to make positive content when you're going through unemployment and there's not really a lot of positive things to talk about. But I wanted to just share this news and my thoughts because I'm sure a lot of people could relate to what's going on and they are curious to what I have to say. So, UPS has been offering their drivers buyouts. And basically, similar to Google, what they did, they are offering a monetary incentive to leave early, to retire early, whatever you do, we're going to pay you to stop working for us. But unlike Google, UPS is offering kind of a low ball offer. Let's go through this article. So, um, this first bullet point: UPS is offering voluntary buyouts to its full-time U.S. drivers, amounting to 1,800 per years of service. So, for example, um, if you want to do the math, if you've been driving for 27 years of service and you accepted this buyout, you would only get paid $48,600 before taxes. So you would get paid um, less than 50,000 if you worked nearly 30 years and you took this buyout. And if you don't already know, let me see. How much do UPS drivers make? UPS driver average salary, I believe, is like 40 to 50 an hour. But let's just do a quick check here. Give me 2 seconds. Um, all right. So if you're a union contract, then you can make about 150K a year. But the average driver makes around 80,000. And I think it comes with seniority and the contract you have. So if you're under a really good union in a big city, you do make six figures. So let's just, for quick estimation, I'm sure if you are a driver, you have more of an expert knowledge and accurate estimation for this. But from what I'm seeing, it's around 75 to all the way maxing out to 150. So around that ballpark. So regardless if you're making the lower end wage or the higher end, you're definitely getting lowballed by this offer of getting $1,800 per years of service if you take this buyout, which is a slap in the face. Um, but basically, the reason for this buyout says here UPS is enacting the buyout program in midst of a major network overhaul to boost profitability, which will feature several facility closures and over 50% volume reduction from Amazon, its top customer. So, I guess people are buying less stuff because guess what? We're in a quiet recession. So, less things are being bought, there's less volume coming in. And they're actually planning to close several facilities, as you can see here. I'm not going to go through all the article for the sake of um, the length of this video, but yeah, you can look into this. U.S. plans to close around 200 U.S. facilities, and they're aiming to save billions of dollars. But yeah, so this is just after the whole Google buyout offer in tech, now we're seeing sort of the same thing happening in the blue collar workforce, which we thought, what didn't we all say this was a safer career path? People from tech were moving to blue collar, and then imagine if you got laid off from Google and you're like, you know what, I am done with technology. I'm burnt out. I'm gonna drive for UPS as a driver, so I'm gonna get some training, and hopefully I could get into a driver position. And then all of a sudden, you hear this that they're buying out drivers. So there's buyouts happening in tech. There's buyouts happening in blue collar, and everyone's just lost. And people who have jobs right now aren't looking at the job market news because they're okay. But for everyone that got laid off, and for everyone like me who is in the trenches, we're keeping up with the date. We're keeping up with the news and what's going on. And I think there's a storm coming. I think there's a storm coming, and we gotta stock up on canned tuna. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about. So let's talk about me. Let's just talk about nothing but me for now. Let's go. Let me. All right. We're gonna switch up the video format. All right. So let's talk about my personal job market stuff. I've had I had about two interviews this week. The first one was for office administration role, and you would think that sounds like a decent opportunity, but after doing the first round interview, I realized this was not a real company. This was for a really small business owned by one woman, and she employed a total of three other employees who were um, in charge of packing boxes and um, organizing like her storage inventory. And she needed one person to work on a laptop, and her offer was 23 an hour, no benefits, and you have to work on Sundays. And I think if the person I interviewed with was, overall a chill person and knew how to run an interview, I would consider taking this job because I'm desperate. But this person was very arrogant, and she seemed like uh, she came from a place where she thought she was entitled to having any employee she wanted, and just the way she was asking questions on the interview seemed very rude, and it was a very like bad first impression, especially just a first round interview. Usually, you kind of have a neutral atmosphere or neutral vibe going on, but this person was already talking down on me, and I'm just like trying to figure out what kind of company this is before I even accept the job, and I was already getting scolded and talked down on, and this person didn't even know how to manage people. I asked this person what was her managing style, because that's the question I usually ask when I interview with companies is what is the management style of the company, and what kind of how are employees led to grow, and in terms of their career growth, but also just day-to-day basis, like is there micromanaging, or are we sort of left to our own to deliver things on time and stuff. But when I asked her that question, she was confused. Her first response was, "Oh, I'm the owner of the company." I'm like, "Yes, I know you're the owner." I was like, I want to know about your style of managing employees." And her first response was, "I'm the owner of the company." And then I rephrased the question, and then she was like, the first thing she said was, I'll paint you a picture of the work environment." And then she describes the size of the building. She's like, "We have, I don't know, 700 square foot building or 1,000 square foot building." And then she's like, "I don't really manage." She's like, "Everyone's on their own and they do their own thing." And then she was like, "Actually, this past month I've barely even been in the office." And then she starts laughing. And I'm like, this is how you're answering how you manage people. So there was like a lot of red flags. She had no other office workers. It was just like people packing boxes for her. And she wanted one admin assistant, which was the role I was applying for, because the last one left. And I wonder why. There was no health insurance, and it was a part time job with basically a weird schedule. Like she said, she wants people in the office by 8, and she wants people to work on Sundays with no benefits, 22 an hour, 23 an hour. And just the way she ran the interview was a little bit disrespectful. So that's what I'm going through. And then my last interview, oh, I started applying outside of LA. I think the LA job market is completely trash. So I had the bright idea, what if I applied to remote jobs in Nevada, in other states like New Mexico and stuff, and hopefully I could get a remote job, because places like Nevada, their population is a lot lower. So I would assume that versus somewhere like Los Angeles, their online applications probably get a lot less submissions, and then there's a higher chance of me being seen. So after 1 day of applying to Nevada jobs, I got a call back, and a week later we scheduled a phone call, and it went well. This was a job that had good structure. It wasn't just some like shell of a company with one person running this whole thing as like a side passion project, but it was an actual company that had an established like structure. They had a real building, a real warehouse with like 50 employees or so, and they had a lot of revenue coming in, and it seemed like they had like the proper management structure. They had a proper HR department, and they have people that work there with skills and like college degrees and stuff. Um, and I think just knowing a company that hires a decent amount of people with structure, there's like a manager, there's like a person working below them, there's training involved, there's a path to grow. Like they're more of a stable company. Not saying that these companies don't lay people off, but I would rather work for a company that's more traditional like that than some lady that has a little warehouse, and she's just, it's a one person show, like everyone is just managing themselves and she doesn't even know what's going on. There's a lot of companies like that in LA right now. So I had that interview with the better company in Nevada, but unfortunately they are mostly on site with few exceptions, and the girl on the phone told me that they would discuss my application internally and see if it is worth considering me, since I am going to have to work remotely. So that's it. That's the only 2 interviews I had so far in the last like 1.5 months. Um, Applying in the Los Angeles job market is terrible. I am getting almost no responses. I am tailoring. I have like 7 different versions of my resume. I am tailoring it to the industries I'm applying for, and I'm having AI compare my resume to the applications I'm sending it. I'm having it score it. I'm having it give me suggestions. So I'm doing the extra steps to make sure it's optimized, but it's still really difficult. But I think moving forward, my strategy of getting out of this hellhole that I'm in is to apply for out of state jobs. So yeah, that's what's going on. Um, in my past videos, I mentioned that I was contracting. Uh, yeah, those contractors, they ran out of work. I still talk to them here and there, but every time they talk to me and say they have a small project coming up, they ghost me, or they pause. So all the contracting work I've been doing in the past basically went back to zero, and you know they still keep in touch with me, but they're like, there's just nothing coming down. There's nothing in the pipeline coming down, and I think all of my contractors that I'm working with, they're very budget tight. Like they're legit broke. They can't afford to start any projects. They can't afford to scale. They are just trying to get by. So I don't know what's going on. Um, yeah. Strange times. Not sure what's going on, but the only thing you can keep doing is keep hunting, and yeah. And then there's like so much things going on with the country and the world. Seems like things are moving quickly, but not in the direction that we wish it was. Anyways, if anyone is feeling similar, let me know below, and hopefully my next video will be a lot more positive than this one.